Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and for unboxings.com, and here inside this rather large box I have the Sony HDR-FX1000 Handycam camcorder, which I'm just going to unbox for you. So it's quite a large box, and on top first of all we have the manual or operating guide, we have an accessories guide, and we have an addendum for customers in the USA. And underneath that we have the component video cable, so RGB, and then we have the left and right audio, which has a connector on there which is Sony proprietary. I have a mains cable, standard UK 3-pin mains plug. We then have the charger, which is an inline power pack style charger, and it does have again a sort of a proprietary connector on the other end, as you probably expect, which is somewhat different to other handycams, but probably for the fact that it has to supply a bit more power, but generally the Sony handycams are a bit smaller than that. We then have a remote control, which has just the standard basic features on there for your zoom control, play and pause, and start and stop recording. We'll then have a rubber eyepiece cover thing that goes over the viewfinder for an eye strain. And we have a composite video cable with audio, which again has that proprietary style connector on it. That seems to be all we have in terms of accessories and cables in the top there. So then in the bottom half we actually have the camcorder itself, nicely wrapped, nothing else in the main box. Let's just take all that to one side. So then we come to the FX1000 itself. So this is pretty much a professional quality, certainly semi-pro quality camcorder. As you can see, it's quite large, not quite shoulder mount, but you're certainly going to want to, I would say, probably use two hands to actually operate it. So if we take a quick look round, so on the front we have the lens itself, and then we have this large lens hood on the front there. This actually does remove. We can take the lens hood off if we want to, which does make the camera a bit smaller. It does give us a better view of that Sony lens, which is a G lens, on the front there, and then obviously the cover pops back on. And it also has a built-in flap there to actually cover the lens, which is just on a manually operated switch just on the front there, so we'll leave that open. On the side, the lens itself has a number of dials. First of all, you've got a zoom, and you've got the focus, which can be done manually, which is very good, and also the iris or aperture ring, so when you're in full manual mode you can change the f value of the lens arrangement, so you can go into a full manual mode. Very, very useful, very cool. On the side we have a variety of controls. I won't mention them all because they're probably too many to really go through in the video, but firstly we do have an ND filter, or neutral density filter. That's quite useful if you're shooting in extremely bright conditions. Focus switch you can turn to manual or auto. You also have assigned keys and also zebra record view modes. Gain button at the bottom, iris controls, manual auto mode. This button here actually, and in combination with the menu button, actually scrolls through the menus, which we'll have a look at in just a second. So various controls here. We also have an audio level gain control, so if you're using, particularly useful if you're using an external mic, but that can be switched here using into auto mode with this cover. It does prevent you from accidentally changing that during shooting. That's quite good. And there's also some other assigned keys underneath the sort of handle here, so you can actually assign different modes and controls to those buttons manually assigned, which is very useful. On the back here we have the tape compartment, and this camera does actually shoot onto mini DV tapes, and we can shoot in DV and HDV modes. We'll just load that. That is auto loading. We'll just close that back up. On the back we have this large compartment here where the battery goes. This enables us to use various size batteries. The one comes with it is the HDR-FX1000, but you can get much larger batteries that would fill that compartment, obviously depending on the amount of shooting time that you need and recording time you need. Also on the back, this is where we plug in the charger. That's under that flap. The headphones here, again very useful if you're actually shooting and you want to isolate exactly what the camera itself is picking up through its microphone. You can plug in your headphones, it's very useful. We have a full HDMI connector there. That AVR connector that we looked at just a little while ago with those cables that come with it. And then we have an iLink or Firewire connector, and that's in and out capable. Again, very useful. If you're going to connect up to a PC, you're going to be doing it with this cable using Firewire connector, so you can download footage for editing and so on, and also you can re-upload footage back to tape from a compatible computer. Again, that's pretty handy if you want to actually edit and put things back onto tape. That's the connector you're going to be using. Battery release buttons just here. Viewfinder on top, which angles up and down. Also has a release that you can take that off so you actually can clean it, and also a slider there just to change the focus. Obviously if you wear glasses and are short-sighted, and you can change it for the viewfinder so you don't have to wear glasses while you're using the viewfinder. Very useful. Main control here is for switching the camera on to camera mode and into VCR mode, and the button and sensor starts and stops recording. There's a link connector there next to that. Photo button there so we can actually record stills if we want to, and then a wide angle and telephoto buttons there actually is your zoom control. That is obviously the electronic zoom control if you like, but you can actually do zoom control with the ring on the front. Under here we have a space for plugging in a memory card, which is an MS Pro Duo. That is only used for recording stills. As I understand it, you cannot use that to record any video footage. Incidentally, you can get an external add-on for this camcorder so that you can record to your video to compact flash, and it will record to tape and compact flash simultaneously. So that is possible with this camera with an add-on. On the bottom we have connectors for tripod, so you can plug it onto a tripod as you probably expect, which is pretty standard. It's a 1/4 inch tripod adapter there. And if we come around the top, we then have a start and stop recording button on the top, which is useful if you particularly want to hold the camera downwards, which you possibly might do if you want to record like a low shot. And also there is a zoom control on the top there. It also has a hold switch. And if we pop out this bit here, we then have the LCD display, which we can also use to, particularly if we're shooting down like this, we can actually see what we're doing, and obviously for playback and all those sorts of things. And if we were recording, we can also use that as well. It's particularly useful if you are shooting around the front, so you can see if you want yourself in the shot, or if you've actually set it up on a tripod and you're using the remote control. Again, quite useful. We then have a series of controls along the top, more to do with playback than anything else. Although you can start and stop recording from the top here, but you can get battery information. You turn that on and off, and various other modes along top here for playback and also reviewing stills and the like. That pops back in like so. And then on the front we have a stereo microphone, which is forward facing. You can plug in external microphones, and they plug in here with a standard style 3.5mm jack connector. Again, very useful. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, in combination with the buttons down here on the camcorder, we can push the menu button. That takes us into the menu here, and then we can scroll through the menu. You can see here, scroll through the menu like so, using this wheel to scroll through, and pushing the wheel takes us into the various settings. Pushing the menu button takes us back out. So the FX1000, extremely cool camcorder. Going to be using it for recording some of our unboxing videos, and to see how really that performs as an unboxing video camera, if you like. So looking forward to actually using it for that. The standard recording mode is 1080i, and it does have a 25 frame per second progressive mode, which gives you more of a film style effect to the video. The specification is pretty extensive, as you'd expect. I can't really go through all of the specification on the video, we'd be here all day. Suffice to say, it's pretty high spec, as you expect from this style of camcorder from Sony. Highlights would be the 20 times optical zoom, the fact that we can actually manual zoom, manual focus and manually change the iris and the aperture. 1080i recording, as I already said. You can also record in just full DV mode if you don't really want HD footage. You can get 60 minutes of HD footage onto one cassette, which is quite impressive, considering how much, well, I guess, data must be sort of fired down onto the tape. To get 60 minutes onto one tape is quite impressive. Download obviously is through the cables and connectors on the back there. There are 3 CMOS chips in here, so it's a 3 CMOS camcorder. Again, that does improve the quality, improves low light performance, no end, and obviously with that large lens on the front compared to sort of lower end camcorders, you can understand how this would perform in low light. Its minimum shooting is 1.5 lux, and that is without any infrared modes or extra shooting modes, purely because of the light gathering power of that lens on the front being quite large. Do have a steady shot built in. There's a setting for wind filter for when you're recording your audio actually on the camcorder. Various other modes that are on here. As I say, too many to mention. Actually, if you have a look at the post that we've got for this on our blog on tracyandmatt.co.uk, I'll have the full specification and link to the specification on the Sony website. But as I say, too much to mention on just one video. I'll be doing a review of the HDR-FX1000 over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to take some time to actually review this because there's an awful lot to talk about when it comes to the FX1000 in terms of spec. So review will be online in the next couple of weeks on tracyandmatt.co.uk, and if you're a fan of unboxing videos, check out the others on unboxings.com. And we will be using this camcorder to record some of our unboxings, and I will mention when it comes to actually doing those recordings when I'm using this camcorder, so you can actually check out and see if you can tell any difference between the FX1000 when I'm using that and the Sony HD1000 I use most of the time. So as I say, come back to tracyandmatt.co.uk for the full review over the next couple of weeks.